Today we're going to talk about the Modify panel on the Home ribbon. We're going to quickly move through the Modify commands just so you can see how each one works and the pattern at which they ask you to do things. We will be using our draw commands that we learned, so we will have to have objects on the screen in order for us to be able to modify them. Down at the bottom of the screen, we have everything turned off. So if you have anything blue, go ahead and turn that off. I'm going to turn back on my line weight because I want this to be able to be seen clearly on the screen, but you turn everything off. We will turn these on in another video and explain how each of our drawing aids work. But for right now, just go ahead and turn those off. So the first thing that I want you to do is go to the circle command. Circle radius is fine. Click circle, pick a point on your screen, and draw a circle. We're going to use the move command. When you click move, it's going to ask you a question. Your command line says select objects, so we need to select. You can either pick with your pick box, you can window, you can crossing window. However you want to select your object, select the circle. It's still asking me to select objects. I don't want to select anything else, so I'm going to right mouse click to continue the command. Now it says specify a base point. The base point means where are you going to pick it up. So just pick somewhere towards the center of your circle. Click, and now move your mouse. When you click a new point, you now have moved your circle. So let's try that again. Click move, pick your circle, right mouse click, and this time your base point, pick somewhere outside of your circle. Click. Now move your mouse. See, notice your base point is where you pick up the object. When you click another point, you have moved your circle. The next command that we're going to use is copy. This is AutoCAD copy, not like what you would use in Word or PowerPoint. You're not copying out to the clipboard and then pasting somewhere else. This is the AutoCAD copy command. So when you click copy, it works the exact same way as move. When you click copy, it says select objects. So pick your circle. Right mouse click because we don't want to pick anything else. Now it says specify a base point. Where do you want to pick this up at? So let's just pick near the middle and then move your mouse and then click another point. You have copied your circle. You can keep clicking points and it will keep copying your circle. Right mouse click and enter, or you can hit enter on your keyboard or escape on your keyboard to cut off the command. So let's try that command one more time. Click copy. Let's pick two circles. Right mouse click. Pick your base point wherever you want to pick it up. It doesn't matter. Just click. And now you can copy your objects on the screen. Either hit enter or escape or right mouse click and cut off your command, and that is the copy command. All right, let's move on. We need to clear our screen, so we're going to use our erase command that we learned the other day. When you click erase, however you would like to erase, do you want to use a selection window? Do you want to use a crossing window? However you would like to pick your objects, you highlight them. You can either right mouse click or hit enter and erase your drawing. All right, let's talk about stretch. Go to the rectangle command. Click rectangle and just draw me a rectangle. The way stretch works, you have to leave part of your object anchored to the screen. It's kind of like a rubber band. You have to hold one end of the rubber band in order to stretch the other end. So when we select the stretch command, it asks us to use a crossing window, but we can't select the whole part. We have to leave a section of it anchored to our screen. So let's go to the stretch command, and it says select objects to stretch by crossing window or crossing polygon. So what you're going to do is move to the right of your object, click a point, and you're just going to draw this crossing window over half. Just draw it over half of your rectangle and click another point. It still asks me to select objects. I don't want to select anything else, so I'm going to right mouse click to tell the command to move on. And now it says specify a base point. So let's just pick somewhere on the end of this rectangle. When you pick and move your mouse, you can now stretch this object. You can stretch the object, you pick another point, and you have changed its geometry and stretched it. But notice we had to pick half so we could leave the left side anchored to our screen. Okay, we're going to erase again. However you would like to erase. Clear that rectangle off. Now we're going to rotate some things. So I want you to go back to rectangle and just draw me a small rectangle on your screen. When you're using rotate, the base point is your pivot point. So let's click the rotate command, select objects, pick your rectangle however you would like to pick it, right mouse click because we don't want to select anything else. Now click the center of your rectangle and then move your mouse. See, the base point that we picked is the pivot point. Let's go back to rotate. Select the rectangle, right mouse click to move on. This time specify one of the corners as the base point. So click on a corner and now move your mouse and rotate. The pivot point is the base point. Now I'm going to draw another rectangle. Most of the time when we rotate a certain degree. So all you have to do is click rotate, select your object, right mouse click to move on. I'm going to pick my corner as a base point, and now it says specify rotation angle or copy reference. So if I want a 45-degree angle, I just type in 45 and hit enter. And now I have rotated my rectangle 45 degrees. So now that I have these two objects on my screen, I'm going to show you the mirror command. The mirror command makes a mirror image, but you have to watch your commands and see what it's asking you to do. When I click the mirror command, I'm going to highlight my objects. I'm going to pick both my rectangles, and I'm going to right mouse click. Now it says specify first point of mirror line. So I'm going to go over to the side, up towards the top, and pick a point. When I move my mouse, see how it's creating a mirror image based on where my mirror line is. Let me zoom over a little bit and pan. You've learned how to do that already. So when I click a second point, it asks me a question. Do you want to erase your source objects? 9 times out of 10, no, I don't want to delete my source. I want to make a mirror image over here and keep both sets. So you can right mouse click, tell it no, and now you have a mirror image of your rectangles. Alright, let's move on to the next command. So let's erase. Let's clear our screen. Give me another rectangle, and we're going to use scale. A lot of these commands work the same way. You select the command, it's going to ask you to select objects and give you a base point and then do what the command needs you to do. So pick scale, select objects, right mouse click. The base point is the point at which it's going to scale up. That's going to be its anchor point. So let's just pick in the middle. If you move your mouse, it will scale that object. either up or down. It asks for a scale factor. So if I want to be half the size of what it is now, my scale factor would be half, or 0.5. So if I type in 0.5 and hit enter, now I have shrunk my object by half. If I want to bring it up to the original size, click scale, select your object, right mouse click. I'm going to pick the corner this time so you can see how it's going to scale. But if I want to take it back up to the original, I need to double its size, so my scale factor will be 2. So now I have scaled it back up to the original. Okay, now what we're going to do, I want you to go to the rectangle command and then put one hand on your enter key, because when you use rectangle and you pick 2 points, it shuts the command off. Well, I want you to keep hitting enter to repeat the command and draw a bunch of rectangles that overlap. Just rectangles everywhere. Because what we're going to do is we're going to learn how to trim. We're going to learn how to trim. So we've got lots of rectangles everywhere. Notice the trim command has a little arrow next to it. So that means a command lives with it. Trim and extend live together. So let's talk about trim first. When you click the trim command, there's 2 ways you can use this command. I'm going to show you the AutoCAD way, and then I'm going to show you my way. In the version of 2021 of this software, they have actually updated this command, so it does work a little differently. It's much better, but in 2020 and all the previous versions, this is how this command works, okay? It asks for a cutting edge. Select a cutting edge. What do you want to cut with? Well, I'm just going to pick one of my rectangles, and I don't want to pick anything else. I'm going to right mouse click. My cursor didn't change because now it says select objects to trim. So anything, notice anything that is touching that rectangle is giving me the option to trim. But anything over here that is not touching that cutting edge will not work in the command. So when you start clicking your objects, anything that's touching that rectangle will trim away. Let's hit escape to get out of that command. Now let me show you how I trim. I'm going to click the trim command, and anywhere in my drawing, I'm going to right mouse click. That made everything a cutting edge. Notice my command advanced. So now anything I pick can be trimmed away because I told it all to be a cutting edge. Now what you'll notice that will happen sometimes is if you trim something away and then try to trim this little leftover line, it won't work. Well, there's nothing left to trim with. You're just going to have to come back and erase the line with the erase command. So that is your trim command. Hit escape. Let's clear our screen away. Now we're going to learn how to extend. We're going to learn how to extend. So if you draw me a rectangle and then go to the line command, and let's draw some short little lines. I picked 2 points. I'm going to hit enter to get out of the command. Enter is going to take me right back into line. I can pick 2 points. Enter gets me out. Enter puts me back into the command. So I've got a rectangle and these 3 lines. Let's go up to trim and click the arrow and open up the extend command. The way this works, it says select a boundary edge. What do you want to extend to? So I can just click my rectangle and right mouse click, and as I move to the line, notice it's giving me the option to extend. So if I click, there's the line. Click escape. Instead of selecting an actual boundary, you can click extend, And just like in trim, let's right mouse click. That advanced my command, and now everything is a boundary edge. The thing about extending a line, you have to be towards what you want to extend. Once you cross that midpoint, it shifts to the other side. So you need to kind of think about where you're trying to extend these lines. Now, extend and trim live together in their command because they work together in each other's command. If you read, it says Shift Select to trim. So in trim or extend, if you hold down the Shift key, it becomes the other's command. If I let go of the Shift key, I'm right back in extend. Hold down Shift, I'm trimming. Let go of Shift, I'm back in extend. So trim and extend work together. All right, hit escape. Let's clear our screen. I'm going to zoom extents, because I want to make sure I am zoomed into my drawing limit, because we're getting ready to enter some numbers and we don't want to be zoomed way far out and those numbers be really, really tiny or too big. So let's go to rectangle. We're going to skip a command. I'm going to skip fillet and come back to it. I want to go to the explode command first. Hit escape. We're not in anything. And when you click on this rectangle, it's all one piece. Let's click escape again. Go to the explode command and now pick your rectangle. Right mouse click, and it looks like nothing happened. But if you now click on your rectangle, now it's in pieces instead of all together. That's what explode does. Explode will break things into pieces. Now let's go back to our fillet command. Fillet creates fillets and rounds. It rounds off corners. When you click fillet, it will not work until you set a radius. So at the bottom of your screen, it'll tell you your current settings. My current setting is trim and the radius is 0. So we need to right click in the screen and select radius. So I'm going to type in 0.5 as my radius and hit enter. And now I'm going to pick one line and then the other line of the corner. Notice how it trimmed away and now it is rounded. Most of the time you really don't want it to trim away that corner, because when you fill it, a lot of times it'll erase the rest of your part of your line that you're working with. So let's fix our fillet. Click the fillet command, right mouse click, select trim. Right mouse click, no trim. My radius is still 0.5. So now if I click the corners, it will fillet that corner but leave the original. At this point, I would just go back to my trim command, right mouse click, and pick those edges. Make sure you always look at your fillet settings when you enter the command so you can check to see what the radius is. If I want to do these other two corners, fillet is going to cut off after I do the first one, and then I have to go back to the command, unless I right mouse click and pick multiple. Now it will let me continue in the fillet command and pick the other corners. So that is fillet. It's going to round our edges. Okay, let's clear our screen. And I want you to draw me a circle. We're going to use the array command, but we're not going to use the array in the actual tool ribbon because they updated this command and they made it different in the way that it operates. And when you do make an array in this array command, all the objects are associative together, and you end up having to go an extra step and explode them. So we're going to use the array classic command. So just on your keyboard, start typing in ARR for the array command. And when you do that, you're going to have somewhere on your screen, and it pops up in different places as you work, your menus. Well, here you have Array Classic. When you click Array Classic, you get a dialog box. This is much easier to use, and it gives you a preview of what you're doing. If you'd like to copy things in rows and columns, that is a rectangular array. Click Polar. This is the one we'll use the most. We copy objects in a circle. So how this command works, the first thing you have to do is select objects. Let's pick our circle. It still wants us to select objects. We don't want any more, so right mouse click, and it's going to put you back in your dialog box. We have to give it a center point, but I have no clue what the X and Y coordinates are of the center point. So I can use my Pick Center Point button. So click Pick Center Point, and I want you to pick over to the side of your part. As soon as you click the center, it's going to put you back into your dialog box. Number of items. Let's type in 25. Angle to fill. There are 360 degrees in a circle, and we want to copy them in all 360 degrees. So once you do this, you can tell this OK, and now you have made an array of your circles. We use this a lot if we're making the gears of the teeth of a gear, or if we are making a pattern of holes that are in a gasket. So we'll be using array quite a bit. All right, let's clear our screen. And I need for you to draw me a line and a circle. The next command is called offset. This will be your best friend. Offset will do most of your hard work for you. With offset, when you click offset, you have to give it a distance first. You don't pick points. You have to give me a distance. So let's put in 0.5, a ½ inch. Enter. Now it says, what would you like to offset? Let's pick our line. Now it says which side. So you can pick anywhere above it or below it. And when you pick a point, you have now offset that line a ½ inch. Unless you want to change the distance, you can keep offsetting your objects. So as we start drawing parts, we will use offset a lot. Offset will be your best friend. Okay, the next command, if you open up Modify, we're going to deal with the two break commands. You have break. This breaks an object at 2 points. So if you click break, pick a point on the line and pick another point, and you have broken the line. Pretty simple command. The next one is break at point. This one, when you click the command, you select the line first, and then where do you want to break it? So you click a point on that line. It looks like nothing happened, but remember, this is a line, and now this is 2 segments of a line. I have broken it. So these are our simple modify commands. As we start drawing parts, we'll go over these and use them more and more till you're extremely comfortable with them. So just keep practicing, and you'll be more comfortable with the commands as we work in class.